Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My name is Professor Murat Çizakça. I teach Islamic finance at graduate level at INCEIF. I have been trained originally as an economic historian and specialize on the economic history of the Islamic countries. And this is what my PhD is about. And then, just by coincidence, I met the late Dr. Ahmed al-Najjar, who is known as the father of Islamic banks. And I had the honor to work with him for 2 years at the International Institute of Islamic Banking and Finance in Northern Cyprus in the 1980s. So these two events, my original specialization on Islamic economic history and my meeting Dr. Ahmed al-Najjar, shaped my career, and they continue to influence the way I teach today at INCEIF. What I do is my course starts with the values and principles of Islamic finance, and then I ask the question how these values and principles were translated into reality through institutions. And then I take one institution and start with the original of it, how it was originally envisaged, usually either by the Quran or by the Hadith and the Sunnah. And then I follow the evolution of this institution over the centuries and bring it to the present. This way of approaching Islamic finance, in my opinion, has a great advantage in that because I start with the historical original form, that is usually the simplest form, and then follow it over the centuries. I, at the same time, follow the evolution of the institution from the simple to the more complex. And finally, I bring it to the present. While doing this, I also criticize the institution, this institutional evolution. Not everything has been perfect, obviously. So we make a critical assessment of the evolution as well. When you do that, it is also possible to make references for the future. It is also possible to argue, to discuss with the students how this particular institution should be further developed in the future. So in a way, we are following a long-term period from the beginning of Islam towards the future. Some of the institutions maybe I should refer. For instance, I start with money. How Islamic community was catapulted by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam from the barter, primitive barter, into monetary exchange. What kind of monies were used, why, and then the relationship between riba and the type of money being used, and finally the latest debate about the Islamic gold dinar that is particularly taking place in Malaysia and also in many other Islamic countries. So we start from barter, the primitive barter, and come to the latest debate on the Islamic gold dinar. Another example will be financing the entrepreneur. As it is well known, in the conventional system, the entrepreneur is financed through credit and riba. In Islamic finance, we discuss what replaces this credit mechanism, this debt financing. The answer is business partnerships. So we start with the most important business partnership, and that is the mudaraba, that was practiced originally by the Prophet again himself. And then we discuss how many other partnerships were derived from this original partnership, the mudaraba, and how they have evolved over the centuries, not only in the Islamic world, but also in the West, because they were borrowed from the Islamic world during the Crusades by the Europeans. So we follow, in this case, two parallel evolutions, the Islamic and the European. Another example would be institution of Esham, for instance, which was an institution for borrowing money from the public. Again, we discuss the historical institution and then how it can be modernized for the future to modernize government borrowing from the public in the modern Islamic world. That's another example. Still another example concerns the waqfs. Again, we start with the original, is classical one, with the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and come to the modern waqfs of stocks and incorporated cash waqfs. So in this way, by following the original institution, its evolution, and then discussing for the future reforms, I think not only do I make it possible for the student to understand the concept very well, because we start with the historical simple and come to the complicated future. And also, I think we are able to cover the most important institutions of modern Islamic finance. And I thank you for your attention, and I hope to see you in my class, inshallah, sometime in the future. Thank you.